Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's Mathcast podcast. Today we are joined once again by Chloe DaCosta from Year 8, who will join us to talk about one of the podcasts that I've been waiting to do for such a long time because it is such an amazing book to review. Today we're going to be reviewing Humble Pie by Matt Parker, and we're going to be talking about some of the summaries of the book, and I also quite want to cover some of the bits that link to Matt Parker's personality because he is also a stand-up comedian as well as a mathematician. So maybe just cover some bits of the book that you enjoyed.
Okay, so Humble Pie, where to start? This book was the book that really got me interested in maths, so I think that it holds a really special place in my heart. And along with this, I think that Matt Parker, as a mathematician, is also one of the best mathematicians I know, or not personally, but I have heard of, because he teaches maths in a way that it's interesting, but it's also funny, and it makes you want to learn more, because he's not telling it to you like he's trying to get you to pass a test, but he teaches it to you like he's ranting about something that he's really interested in, and he makes you want to do it too.
And I feel like when you can really tell when someone's really interested or passionate about their subject, because it just comes through so well if you're listening to someone who's truly interested in what they're talking about, because that also kind of flows into you with or without you noticing it. So I just want to start by talking a bit about Matt Parker's kind of how I found this book through Matt Parker. So I actually started reading the book not just by seeing the book itself, but I actually watched a Royal Institution video. It was like maybe 1.5 hours of him just talking about the book. That just got me so fascinated about the book, and some of the topics that he covers on there was just so nice, so I really recommend it. So I'll also leave it in the description if anyone wants to watch it. And then I kind of paused midway because I didn't want to spoil the rest of the book because I just found it so good. So then I read the book, and then I continued to watch the video that was posted on there. And I just found that the way he talks about maths is just such a interesting approach, because this book was like a comedy of maths errors, and the way that Matt Parker describes it is that he put math in a way where people would like to read it, because people like to laugh at other people's mistakes. Let's be honest, they like to see, oh, he did that wrong, just laugh about that. And one of the things was the bridge that was mentioned, so maybe you want to talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so I know that if any students are listening, you'll think that getting a question wrong on a final paper was a bad time to miscalculate. But let me tell you an incident where this miscalculation actually cost 100 of lives and, well, maybe not 100, but some lives and a job. So this is a famous bridge, and I call it the bridge of miscalculation because while it was being built, there was a miscalculation as to how heavy the bridge would be, because when the bridge design was increased from 1,600 feet to 1,800 feet, the forces themselves have not been recalculated. So it was an 1,800 feet long bridge, which had the supports of a 1,600 foot long bridge.
So basically, it was just a miscalculation, and I'm pretty sure the other day when I was talking to Sahila about this, doing a book, top 10 book reviews, we covered the bit about how she was learning it in a physics class, and then she was like, "Oh, I read that in Humble Pie." So it's something that's quite practical, and you might come across later on. But basically, the bridge was swaying left to right at some point, and it was an engineer miscalculation. That's just one of the bits that really fascinated us both in the book, because it was such a crucial miscalculation, even though it was only a small one, but it led to a misdesign of a bridge. Another thing that I found quite funny in the book was the bit where he talks about stars and the moon. So basically what happens is they show very famous instances of the moon being shown, and a lot of the times there are still stars in the moon. So if you fill up the moon, or if you just complete it, so for example, if it's a crescent, you would just complete the circle so it's like a full moon. A lot of the times there is a moon there's a star in the moon, and especially on the video version of the kind of book where he talks about the book a little bit more, is it's so funny because he talks about how it's not possible to have a star in the moon, even if it's just a drawing. And there was a truck license where there was also a moon, but the star was very, very close to the edge. So so what Matt Parker did is he got the license somehow, even though it was from a random truck in Texas, and he completed the moon, and he found out that there was in fact a moon as a star in the moon, and that was just one of the bits that I really did enjoy.
And I think that this is really funny because in his book, he put like a picture of a Sesame Street book, and I loved Sesame Street. I used to watch it all the time when I was younger, and I always used to see that like iconic crescent moon with the stars in it. I just loved this chapter because I think it was really interesting, and I was also a bit sad because that was one of my favorite programs as a child, and it was just like, nope, a lot of that couldn't happen. Another instance that I found was really interesting was a coin that was mentioned, and the way that this coin came to be was a 1998 redesign of the £2 coin in England. And obviously the Queen can design the head of the coin, and it's because it's her face, obviously. But when they were redesigning it, they set it up to citizens and artists who were in the country to redesign. And there was this artist, I don't remember his name, but he designed a coin with cogs on it to like signify the different levels of revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution and then leading up to the 20th century. And he put 19 cogs on it, which, as we all know, if you don't have an even number of cogs, they can't move. It'll just stay transfixed. But it was actually proved that he had 3 other cogs, which were there, but they were really tiny. So when they made the coin a bit smaller, like 28.4 millimeters, they had to take out those three cogs, making sure that the coin wouldn't work.
And another instance that kind of this happens, I'm not sure if it's included in the book because I don't really remember because I read this book quite a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure it was included in the video. And it was like a teacher's, parents, and students cog. And it turns out that the parents were kind of blocking the whole system because there were like 3 cogs and they were all linked together. But the parents' cog were moving in the wrong direction. So it ended up in it not working, which I found quite funny. Which was like the parents thing. And another bit which I found in the book that really quite linked was the bit about probability. And it's not like a very obvious instance of probability. And the reason I'm kind of mentioning this now is that probability is one of the topics that we're looking at in maths currently. And one of the things that we kind of mentioned was that if you're doing a coin flip, all right, just for like simplicity's sake, it can be 50% heads, 50% tails, and there's only 2 things that could possibly happen. Just for simplicity's sake, we're going to ignore the fact that it lands on its edge or anything like that to kind of avoid any more complicated occurrences. But in the book, it actually mentions a picture of so basically what happened is that there was a couple and the wife was showing her husband a picture that she took in her childhood. And basically what ended up happening is that on the back of the photo, like on kind of in the background, there was a kid, and that kid turned out to be her husband. And Matt Parker was talking about how that is such a rare occurrence or something, very rare thing to happen, is that they were traveling, and I'm pretty sure they went to Disneyland or something, and it wasn't even in her country, it wasn't in her area. So she was traveling somewhere, and at the same time, her husband was also traveling. And they were like 5 years old. They were so young. And then like 30 years later, they meet up in a different place and they end up getting married. And I find that that's such a rare thing to happen. And it's like so perfect. It's like they were meant to be from such a young age, which I find really interesting. And kind of linking back to the thing that I was talking about before, heads or tails, it could land on its edge, but that's a very small probability of happening. But it's still possible. And I feel like if we're looking at it in like a grander scheme of things, landing on its edge is probably happened quite a lot of times because there are so many people who have flipped a coin before. But if you're just doing it like by yourself only like a few times, it's very rare to happen. But if you're doing it on a larger scale, then it is very likely to happen. So I'm pretty sure Matt Parker mentions this, but it's like it's very, very rare to win the lottery. But you don't just see like newspapers be like, oh my god, someone won the lottery. Like it's very rare to happen, but it still does end up happening. Like you don't see people go, oh my god, he won the lottery. It's very rare for you to win the lottery, but it's not very rare to win the lottery in general because it happens. And that's kind of the same thing that's being mentioned. So could you just rate the book out of 10? How much would you rate it?
I would rate the book out of this world. It was absolutely incredible. It is the reason that I am on Mathcast today. Matt Parker, he has a very distinctive and conversational and funny style when he writes. So if it's someone who's looking to start reading math books and they want something that's beginner friendly, that's not like this person said this at 3:47 p.m. on the 19th of June 1593. If they're looking for something that's more like we're just telling you about interesting things that happen in math, then
This is
Humble
definitely
Pie,
the book for you.
Humble Pie is the book for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and good point as well, because it's like such a. I feel like it's a random book. Like it's just
Yeah.
one of those like random things. But it's like I love the book and I love it for that reason, that of its randomness. Because I feel like every chapter you just don't know what to expect. It's just so different. But other books that like talk about a specific event and it's very historical, I do still really enjoy those type of books. But I feel like there is kind of a joy in reading something where you don't know at all what the next chapter is about, and especially that in maths book I feel like is something that I really do enjoy, because it's like a comedy of math errors is what it says on the front cover.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what is getting delivered. So you promise something and then you deliver the exact same thing, and that's just what I really do enjoy about the book.
5 stars. Out of this world. Most amazing book I've ever read.
Thank you so much for watching, and I really, really recommend that if you've not already to read Humble Pie. It's such a great book. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.